How's it going, everyone? Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about what I've been going through over the last 2 months and how my opinion about the welfare of children has changed. Now, I used to be very intolerant of children being criticized in any way or being told in any way that they're bad or they're wrong, or I used to hate that shit because the thing is that I'm remembering back to when I was a kid, and although like I did have some sociopathic ways as a kid back then, there were still occasions where I realized that the criticism of me wasn't fair, but because I was a child, nobody really paid attention. So if I saw a child being treated in a way that was unfair to them, I used to really speak out about that. I used to be like, you know what, don't do that shit. That's not fair. Don't do that shit. But gangstalking has really helped me understand the nuance of how children are being treated and why, and all that type of stuff. Like I said, these are not the only children that have been harassing me, but I do notice a pattern with perps that have children. The first pattern that I notice is that the children themselves are surrounded by people who don't have proper emotional regulation. Because remember, TIs are accused of being paranoid schizophrenic, we're accused of being abusive, we're accused of being violent, we're accused of being deviants. Flip that back round. That's who are targeting us right now, okay? 9 times out of 10, that's who are targeting us. So you've got these adults with no emotional regulation, no real sense of right and wrong. Like, everything that they do is basically based around shame and how they feel about, their shame level. So everything that they do is dictated by shame and fear. Not necessarily guilt, but shame and fear dictates their behavior. So they don't have any real emotional regulations. They don't have any real morals or ethics. And even though I think those things are kind of puffed up anyway. So they have no real morals or ethics. They have no real beliefs of their own. They just do whatever it is that they think will get them somewhere. And 9 times out of 10, the way human beings work is they operate on a hierarchy of abuse. Like, if people want to get at me about that and say that I'm being cynical, that's up to them. But we live in a world that is built on a hierarchy of abuse. Adults are the worst. I don't care what anybody says. Adults are the fucking worst when it comes to that shit. Children, that is literally child's play. They're annoying and nothing more. Okay, because they do not have the systemic advantage to be able to fucking enable the torture of millions of people globally. They don't have that power. Since when do children have that power? They don't. So when it comes to abuse, adults are the worst, and they stay being the fucking worst. They will remain the fucking worst. But the problem that I'm having is that when it comes to child perps, children bully, right? But it's one thing for a child to bully, and it's another thing for them to do it every single day for 2 months. That's a sign that something is very wrong. So it reveals to me 3 things. The first is that this child has been taught that because they're a child, that they're not inherently bad. Now, again, it's difficult because when you're dealing with a sentient being that is sentient enough to think for themselves, and yet they don't entirely understand the situation they're in, it's tough to get that balancing act right between, telling them that their behavior is bad without leaving them, like, scarring them with this fucking shame and this guilt that, they carry for the rest of their lives. It's very difficult to manage that balancing act. Like, even for parents with emotional control, it's difficult to maintain that balancing act. But these children, or this child, have definitely been taught that just because they're children, they can't possibly be bad people, which is not how it works. There are children who don't bully people at all. there are children who do bully people, but like for them it's just a coping mechanism, and once they find out, you know why they're doing what they're doing, it's very easy for them to just, fall back. Then there are people like this who do it for 2 months. Just because you're a child, it doesn't mean you can't be a bad person. Now, sure, just like adults, you can start off being one of the worst people in the world, and then through being around the right people, you can turn into a good person. So if an adult can do that, then why can't a child do that? It's entirely possible. But these children have been taught that they can do no wrong because they're children. So they're being taught that they can do no wrong because they're children. That's one thing. The second thing is, there's no real emotional control on the part of the adults, because the adults will just say whatever. They have no filter, and they'll just say whatever in accordance with the way that they're actually feeling. And when they actually shame their children, they don't shame their children for doing something wrong. They shame their children for embarrassing the parent, which is a different thing altogether. You mean to tell me you're not going to scream in this child's face for taunting and bullying someone else, but you're going to scream in their face for saying that you hate black people loudly? Are you kidding me? So you're going to scream in their face for saying that, but you're not going to scream in their face for bullying someone. So it proves to me already that your standards revolves around how much they embarrass or don't embarrass you. That's the second thing. No emotional control beyond making me look good. Third thing is that these children might have undiagnosed mental illnesses. Now, I think the adult has a mental illness. I think they might be paranoid schizophrenic. I think they might have addiction problems. But there's no way the kids don't have something. There is no way the kids are going to live in an environment like that and they don't have mental health problems or psychological injuries. There's no way they don't have some form of BPD, because BPD makes people obsessive. I know, because I've got it. And I've demonstrated obsessive qualities of my own. BPD makes people obsessed. And then you've got the fact that BPD also makes it, your emotions. When you feel one emotion, you feel it to its extreme. So it's like it's difficult to control from there. And then on top of that, the kid might have autism. These kids might have autism, and they might be like really badly they might find being overly stimulated really, really stressful. When you combine all of that, you bring all of that together, they're going to act up for months on end, every day for months on end. So a combination of being told you can't do any wrong because you're only a kid. You can't be a bad person because you're only a kid. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I'm only going to tell you off or scream in your face when you shame me. I'm not going to do it when you're hurting someone else. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to hurt someone else as long as you don't embarrass me. Third thing is, possible autism, definite mental illness. That's why I find it difficult to be angry with the child, because it's like, you as an adult, you are responsible for how that child turns out. You're the reason why a child won't shut her fucking mouth for 2 months. It's your fault as the adults in the equation. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. You're the one who wants to jump up and say racial slurs every single time. You're the one who wants to jump up and turn it into a game to make the bad lady upset. You're the one who created a sense of entitlement in this child, that she can do no wrong because she's a kid. You're the one who created that sense of entitlement in her. So now she thinks she's entitled to treat people anyhow because they don't like her. And she misses the fact that her behavior is why people don't like her. That's why she says she likes to make me upset. She doesn't. She doesn't. She pretends she does to wind everyone else up, or to try to wind me up. The only thing is that she's winding up the people closest to her more than she's winding me up. She doesn't wind me up with this shit. She's winding up her family. Because she thinks that if I if she hates me enough, then everybody else is going to hate me. But it just hasn't happened like that. That whole family has made that mistake. They're thinking if they harass me enough, if they get me angry enough, if I start screaming or if I start threatening violence, then everybody's going to look at me and say, oh, that black woman's crazy. Oh, that. But no, it hasn't happened like that. Because they continued to bully me no matter what I did. So now everybody else around here is like, they hate me less because of this family. So this whole point is to get revenge and make me hated for the fact that I hate them, when the whole time these people hate me less than they used to because of this family. But that's what you get when you as a parent or you as adults, you raise entitled cunts who think that just because they're hated, that they have the right to try to make everybody else hate them because fair's fair. No. If you behave badly and people hate you for it, then it's up to you to behave correctly. It's not up to everybody else to get used to you. People don't owe you to like you. And something tells me, right, that it's not even just the child that thinks that way because of how they're raised. The mother thinks that too. Everybody, all their friends and all their family think that too. They think that calling somebody the N-word shouldn't come with any consequence. They think that they should be liked no matter what they do because they're real. So how else are these kids going to turn out? You think the whole world should like you because of how real you are. You keep it real. So you think that you should be able to go around saying the N-word without getting clocked in the face. You think you should be able to teach your children to bully people who are different to them without you getting your ass beat. Because you think that however you behave, you should not be hated for it. That's fucked up. That is fucked up. And you're teaching these children these same values. I can say what I want. Why do people hate me? I should be able to say what I want and not be hated. The world don't work like that. The world will hate you for doing even the most minimal shit, let alone bullying someone for 2 months. But you don't teach your kids that. You don't teach your kids the truth. You only teach your kids, do what you want as long as you don't embarrass me. How do you think they're going to turn out? They're going to turn out, like I said, people like that get people killed. And in this case, it's quite literally. People like that get people killed. You can quote me on that. People like that get people killed. People like that are dangerous. You think that everybody else is there to like them and gas them up and prop their head up. People think that I'm alone because I'm not liked. Like, I'm not alone because I'm not liked. I'm alone because most of the people that come into my life are either observational perps or they don't understand what's going on. That's the only reason. You think that somebody like me, I mean, I've got borderline personality disorder. I've got flaws. And people have seen me. Sometimes I have the worst temper. Like, I've got borderline personality disorder. I've got that whole fucking PMDD thing. So yeah, I turn into a raging monster like a week before my period. Like, there's no denying that. But besides that, do you seriously think I would be by myself? Somebody with my personality would be by my fucking self without targeting? Come on. And the friends that I get, let's have a look at the friends that I actually managed to get. They're usually really kind, open-minded people who are loyal. That's who the fuck I have in my corner. Like, who do these people have in theirs? And you're teaching these values that, like, nah, man. And like, when she gets angry, I bet you do. Because you think you're entitled, your entitlement thinks that you should be liked no matter how badly you behave. How would you like it if somebody spied on you going to the toilet? You'd cry your effing eyes out. But that's how these people work. That's how these people work. 2 months, nah. And this type of entitlement is exactly what makes a perfect perp. I should not be hated no matter how badly I behave. And it's a mirror image of me, because that's who they bring into your life. They bring into your life mirror images of you to perp you. So I'm over here hating myself for the slightest shit that I do because of the abuse that I've been through. I've basically come out of that now. I don't hate myself so much anymore for the things I do. So I've been over here hating myself for every little thing that I've been doing. Meanwhile, these people are out here literally abusing people for months on end. Sometimes they don't even know the person. They're just abusing them just because. And they think they shouldn't be hated because of it. That entitlement is what makes a perfect perp. And children are perfect perps as well, because ain't no adult about to beat a fucking kid's ass. Every consequence that child gets is going to be indirect. You push an adult far enough, the adult might beat the parent's ass, but not a kid's ass. No way in hell. Nobody with any type of... It's not even about morals. Even if we remove morals from the equation, no grown adult in their right mind is going to hurt a child. None. I can tell you that right now. Might call them names or something like that, but when it comes to actually smacking them up, no. And especially not somebody else's kid. So kids make perfect perps too, because they're annoying. They don't really know what they're doing, so they're going to continue to do what they're doing. And no one's going to beat their ass. Their parents are not going to discipline them, and the TIs are not going to discipline them, because it's not the TI's place to do so. But yeah, it's all about how they're raised. I was raised to think that everything I did was I was raised the same way, believe it or not. I was raised to think that I could do whatever I wanted as long as I didn't upset the status quo. I was raised to just do what you want as long as you don't upset the status quo. But then being black, when I did upset the status quo, severity was met a bit more harshly with me than with other people. But yeah, that's a different thing. But yeah, nah. You can be a good or bad person. Like, it doesn't matter what your age is. But what I will say is that you can also change. Just because you're a bad person when you're a kid, it doesn't mean you won't be a good person when you're an adult. There's a famous video of a child psychopath. And she literally grew up to be a nurse that was helping other children. So changes can happen. Like, just because you're a bad person now, it doesn't mean you're always doomed to be that way. Do you understand what I mean? But if you tell a child that they're a bad person because of what they've done, and you base it on real shit, you don't base it on embarrassment, you base it on real shit, you base it on real morality, there's every chance that child will grow up and they'll learn, okay, I shouldn't hurt people like this, and then I'll try to help someone else who's been hurt, or try to help someone else before they hurt someone else. There's every chance that you could be a good person. Like, you can start out bad but turn out good. There's every chance. But how likely do you think that is with gangstalking? They'll just learn how to hide the beast better. That's all it is. But anyway, those are my musings. This wasn't an opportunity for me to roast anybody, honestly. This was not some fucking, stupid fucking oh, I gotta roast these people. Nah, man. This is real shit. It's not a roasting opportunity. I just needed to get it out of me, as usual. But anyway, that's my time. I love you guys. Take care. Mwah. Bye, my fellow TIs. I love you. Bye.